Seven. Seven, seven, seven. Seven, seven, seven. 遥かな星がふるさとだ。ウルトラセブン、ファイターセブン。ウルトラセブン、セブン、セブン。すずめ銀河のパートナーでもウルトラアイデスパー。セブン、セブン、セブン。セブン、セブン、セブン。諸星団の名を借りてウルトラセブン、ヒーローセブン。ウルトラセブン、セブン、セブン。倒せ火を吐く大怪獣ウルトラビームデストライク。
Hello and welcome to Ultra Q episode 28. My name is Red. I am joined by Razan.
Hello.
Coming up this week, we've got kids are back. Kids are involved again. We have got the return of the mole, and we have got escape from Project Elon Musk.
Yep.
It's just called SpaceX.
It's just called SpaceX.
Ridiculous. So yeah, we will get to Ultra 7 in a minute. First things first, obviously Mel not here. I mentioned that last week. She will be back, but she's not here for this week. She is having fun elsewhere.
True. A lot of
she was
that
not
going
sent.
on.
She was.
Ultra
Yeah, she was not
7.
sent on. She was not sent on like a redemption quest, like Razan was.
Yeah.
Uh,
She's on whatever the opposite is. Like
yeah.
I don't know what the opposite of redemption is.
Fall.
A fall. Yeah.
Yeah. She's
Mel's
getting
gonna come back
corrupted.
evil.
Yes. Oh man. So you've done something. I want you to talk about what you've done first.
Oh, the thing you want isn't gonna come first. You got to build up to it.
Ah shit. Okay, I will start then.
Okay.
I watched the record of Lodoss War.
Hell, wait, hold on. Which one?
The OVA.
Okay, hell yeah.
Is the anime not good?
Okay. I'm not gonna bullshit with you. I was 14, so any opinion I have on this doesn't fucking matter. But if I recall, I liked the OVA quite a bit more than the TV show growing up.
So the thing about Lodoss War, that after watching the OVA, my feelings are, if I go back to this again, it will be to read it. Because this is just fucking good high fantasy shit. And the anime, the whole thing about like the anime is like a more like something about like there's something about the adaptation where it's like I do feel like I am missing some bits that I feel like there's a war of heroes at some point in the middle of the OVA, and it feels more like one battle, and I'm like, okay, I can sense that there's, you know, we're adapting a book, but the actual debate that I will have whenever I get to that is, will I read the novel, or do I want to read the replay?
I have had on my like phone Google Chrome browser, I have had the fan translation of that replay novel open for like 6 months now.
Oh damn!
I'm like, one day I'll get to it. I scroll past it daily.
We all have something like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lodoss War is, I said this elsewhere on like Twitter. I said Lodoss War is primarily about like, it's about a few things. The two of which that stick out to me the most are that the wizard should be the coolest guy in every D&D party. If they're not, it's because the wizard has fucked up. And also, Elfwife.
Oh, yeah.
Elfwife.
Deedlit's
That's
great.
it. Deedlit is I was watching the show and I was just like, oh, is she like the OG elf?
For anime, yes, 100%.
Yes. And this was she's. But when I say OG anime elf, I am referring, of course, to elves with ears that give them like the wingspan of an albatross. And you know, Deedlit's great. I can see why she's a fan favorite. I think Slain, like I said, the wizard. Slain is just the coolest guy that has ever, like, him getting visited by Gim the dwarf, and Gim's just like, hey, why don't you should come along with me on my quest to save this person. And Slain just sat there in his, like, looking very tired and just like little smile, just go, I have a lot more books to read before I'm powerful enough for this shit. And it's just like and he kicks so much ass whenever he does anything. There's just something about the way that magic is animated in this, because this is like 90s OVA, like 1990. And it's all animated as empty space around which energy crackles. And it's really good. And there's just, I would not say that it's like a deep show.
No.
But the vibes are immaculate. And
it is like high-end fast food.
Yes.
It's
Absolutely.
like, this will serve you good for an evening.
Yeah. And there is something, because, you know, I find out that this, like, the replays precede the original Final Fantasy, for instance.
Yes.
And so, you know, I'm looking at this and I'm coming away with like, okay, I you know, this has an influence on everything, on like fantasy in Japan, just total, presumably. And some of the things that you know, I like, you know, there's a lot of things that are very familiar, like the Dark Knight, the evil emperor, etc., etc. But it's there's a lot here that's like, it's a little more specific, and it's in those specifics that I think it's good. Like, the Emperor is not just like, he's not like a representation of like a cosmic force or anything. He is a guy that was like one of the last generation of heroes, and now he wants to conquer Lodoss, and you know, he's got this fated battle with his friend that was also in the Six Heroes. And then the Dark Knight is like the underling of the Emperor who was loyal to the Emperor, and then has to take up the mantle of the Emperor's place when the Emperor you know, gets offed. And the Dark Knight just doesn't quite have it, and it's like his struggle to try to claw back to power is good. I think Ashmar is really cool. Yeah, there's just, you know, there's a cavalcade of guys. Ikeda playing the widest man in the world. He's King Cashew. And
oh god, I did not even remember. Oh, I need to go back and watch that now, because I would not have realized
really
that
good.
when I watched it.
He walks in and says just the word Fan to King Fan. He just says Fan's name, and I go, oh, hello, Ikeda. Instant recognizable voice. It's him. It's another guy I recognized. It's Joji, Nakata Joji, who is the Dragon Rider King, who gets like 2 or 3 scenes in this show. He says like one line, and I'm like, oh, hey, it's you. hello Kodamine Kirei. And then the other guy that I always recognize is you know, Dio, Gim Gingham. A very recognizable voice. So yeah, I liked Lodoss War a lot, to the point where I was very sad when I looked up how much it cost to buy the hardcover English translation of the first novel.
If I recall, I think they've already clarified that they do want to do more print runs of that.
Good. Because it looks
That's Grey
sick.
Witch, right?
Yeah, Grey Witch.
Yes, I believe that they've announced, like, sit tight, we do expect more. So, because I've also wanted to pick that up before.
Because, I mean, that's a tiny image. I can't send that.
But it's like the gold lettering and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's the gold embossed black cover. It's fantastic. And then, like, you know, the rest of it, if I wanted to read, I would have to read a fan translation, it sounds like. But, you know, I've read, you know, I can do that. I will live. Sometimes fans translate things good. Sometimes they don't. It's really situational. There is no... The thing that some people can't get into their heads is that there is no, like, broad applicable rule here. Sometimes the official subs are good. Sometimes the official subs are bad. Sometimes the fan translation is good. Sometimes the fan translation is bad. It's really just, like, it completely depends. My Psycho-Pass Blu-ray of the first season was immediately clearly a waste of a Christmas present because I booted it up and within 5 minutes there had been a character-altering mistranslation that I recognized because I watched Psycho-Pass too much, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this is useless.
The original, I want to say it was the first 3 of Vampire Hunter D novels were translated. They were just horrible. I think they went back in recent years and retranslated them, and, like, if you buy a version of them now, I think it's them, but I remember back in the day watching fucking Vampire Hunter D and being like, I want to read the books, and then being like, what the fuck is this?
There is an official translation still coming out, I think, of The Legend of the Condor Heroes, which is a famous 20th century wuxia series, and the current translation is, you know, according to most people, it's mostly fine, except for it translates some of the characters' names into English. Like, as in the Chinese names, their name, and what their name means just gets translated. So, like, instead of, like, Chinese name, it's, you know, brave name. And it's like, well, I would have preferred that you left it as their name.
Yeah.
I was like, I wouldn't do that, especially as, like, presumably the names can have multiple meanings. And, you know, you can, I don't know. I wouldn't have done that. So, you know, I do, you know, I've, this was like a few years ago, actually quite a long time ago, when I bought that first book and, you know, got like 2 pages in and was like, oh, I don't like that. This was a waste of money. I should have opened this book when I was in the shop.
Special shout outs to the Berserk fan subgroup that was so fucking adamant for years that it was Gatsu. There's never been a group of people more wrong. Shut the fuck up.
Oh my god, everyone loves Gatsu.
Yeah.
This is like when people tell you have to pronounce the GMs from Gundam, you have to pronounce it Jim, and it's like, okay, I don't call the Mark II Gundam I don't pronounce it like you would in Japanese. So I just call it the Mark II. So
Same.
I'm calling it the GM.
I'm also a GM person.
Yeah. All right. Well, I didn't have loads to say about Lodoss War other than it's sick.
It's fun. I the thing that interests me about it is that there are so many iterations of what was the same tabletop campaign, and if I recall, like, some of those adaptations and some of the works are from different players and people involved with that.
So they all have their own different perspectives on it.
Yes, I don't know how available some of that stuff is in English, though. But also too, I am curious to see the different versions of it, because I've only really ever interacted with the anime, and I've looked into Sword World RPG, I guess, which the default setting is like Lodoss or whatever. But I do want to read the replay and then go forward from there, because one thing I do know that I think is funny is that in the original campaign, there's not really any romance, but then as it becomes made, like, it becomes a story, like, the dude makes, like, Parn, like, pair off with, like, I'm pretty sure, like, you know, like, it gets more... It seems like it's more like, oh, if my guy was the main dude, like, sort of thing.
Oh, wait, hang on. Hang on. So, the person who wrote the books, is it the guy who played Parn, or is it the GM?
I don't know.
If it's the guy who played Parn, I have some issues. That's really funny if it is. Let me look up who played Parn in the RPG. No, but I don't mean their voice actor, you fucking...
I don't exactly remember how it goes, but I do know, like, that is one of the bigger differences, if I recall, is they add romance between who the player characters were.
Yeah, the thing, I realize we haven't explained this, but hopefully you have picked up. If you don't know what Lodoss War, the deal with Lodoss War is, you have picked up by now. Lodoss War is, and this is insulting to Lodoss War. Lodoss War is Critical Role,
but so much fucking cooler.
Yeah, infinitely. And it started as like a D&D campaign, playing like, was it basic or advanced D&D, one of the two, and they had moved to Sword World at some point because like they didn't have rights or something for something, but the point is it was an RPG, and they were publishing replay sessions in a magazine, which was literally just like presumably edited transcriptions of sessions. Yeah,
that's typically what you do. This is a whole genre of literature in Japan, but like replay novels are a big deal.
Yes. There's a semi-famous series of replays that I have to read someday, the fan translation of, because it is Nasu and Urabuchi and a bunch of other people, including the Durarara writer. And I'm just like, well, this sounds like some bullshit, because like you read the characters that Nasu made and Urabuchi made, and you're like, oh, that's a funny joke. Like, no, those are really the characters that they made.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, they're parodies of themselves.
I've been so interested in going through. Is there a version of that someone's translated?
There is. I have it bookmarked somewhere. I would have to track it down, but
because from what I've gathered, too,
it's like a forum. It's like a thread.
Oh my god. The thing that I've heard from that too is that you can find shit from that game in each of their work too. From like,
oh hell yeah.
That, which honestly, guilty. This is what tabletop RPGs are, but
Red is it called Red Dragon? It might be called Red Dragon.
Yes, it's something dragon, I know.
Yes, Red Dragon role-playing. You can't put a completely like new genre of thing in brackets. Wikipedia is like Red Dragon, open parentheses, role-playing fiction, close parentheses. That's no one. You can't just explain things with a whole new, oh, you know. That thing. Let me find, because there is I have to find this Urabuchi character. I posted this on Twitter. Is what happens ages ago. Let me aha. No, I can't find this. Never mind. Oh well. Yeah, it's like Urabuchi's character is like an assassin who doesn't have he has like this specific philosophy around killing. And then the Nausicaä has a special ability. He's like a knight, and like extremely European knight, who has a special ability where every time he uses a sword, the sword breaks. And I'm like, that is very you. But yes, I have to read that at some point. But yes, Lodoss War is one of those, and then it got made into a bunch of other stuff because everyone loved it. And they loved it for a reason, because it's cool. I have yet to find a reason for why Eto is in the show, other than he was played by a player. I'm sorry, Eto.
I do also believe that looking at it seems like the guy DMing was the one who made the novels. So.
Okay, that's fine then. I'll allow it. If it was
if it was the player, that would have been.
I would have been like,
you would not have been invited back for Call of Cthulhu
please.
or whatever the fuck was next.
Please relax. It's good shit. Anyway, that's me. I've been, doing other stuff, but again, it's very long. I'm only doing things that take a long time at the minute.
I have a fighting game update.
Oh.
So, people who have been following me on Twitter.com may notice that every time for a while there I was playing Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and then winning, I would screen cap when people would exit mid-win animation, because it felt good. And it's like, damn, I'm making people salty out here with my subpar.
That's true victory.
When Dante's halfway through swinging his guns out in front of the camera, and then you get there's been a communication error. We are returning you to the main menu. It's chef's kiss. Feels wonderful. What's less fun is when every third match that you win, there's like an eighth left of the opponent's life bar, and then they stop moving, and then you get that message, and people are just fucking not letting the match play out, so I don't get my fucking stupid little rank points that don't matter, and it feels bad. It feels bad. So I was like, I'm gonna get to 8th Lord, which is the rank above where I typically landed back in the day on like the PS3 version of the game.
Did you say 8th Lord?
8th Lord. So it goes like beginner, rookie, fighter, amateur. There's like a bunch of like newbie, like bronze rank type stuff.
Can you spell the word 8th Lord for me?
8th as in 8th Lord.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was hearing that as one word.
Oh, no. As in, when you go through the beginner ranks, you then get to 9th Lord, then 8th Lord, then 7th, 6th, and then it's like Cosmic Mighty, some other shit. Yeah, it's not 8th Lord, like...
Yeah.
You've become fantasy pilled.
I've become fantasy pilled. It's unfortunate.
Yes.
I have unfortunately I have been bitten by the urge to run RPGs, but unfortunately I hate Dungeons and Dragons, so
you should run Sword World. This is a selfish request.
Shut the fuck. I should run Sword World, clearly. I gotta read it first. I gotta, my first house rule: dwarves aren't like that. I took one look at what the dwarf was, and they were like,
"You mean I can't play a
dwarves...
female dwarf in your Sword World campaign?" Oh no!
Dwarves in this dwarves in Sword World are short and males have big beards, and female dwarfs mostly look like human children.
Bad
for the rest of their lives, and I was like, "Ooh, this is worse Lalafell." I don't like this.
Bad.
Anyway, fighting games. I interrupted.
Yeah, fighting games. So I got to 8th Lord, which is a rank above where I normally stood at on my last bout of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 obsession. So I was like, you know what? This is a nice place to put a pause button for here personally. The like it's tough when you start to rank up in that game because I feel like there is a gulf in that game. The first time I talked about going back to Marvel 3 on the podcast, I kind of said something like, oh, it feels like there's actually like a pretty good spectrum of people playing. The more I played, the more I realized that is slightly less true as you rank up. There are a lot of people playing that don't really know what they're doing, and there are a lot of fucking killers that never stopped playing.
Okay.
But when you start to get to that not even just intermediate, but I feel like intermediate higher level where people are like starting to optimize their shit, but they don't have everything optimized, you start to run into a gap where, like, there's a lot of regulars I run into online, and I would say that there are 3 people in particular whose names I'm starting to recognize, where it's like, okay, these 3, when I get into a match with them, I'd say it's about a 50-50 shot if either of us are going to win. Okay. Everyone else whose name I recognize, I'm either like, oh, I'm gonna fucking wipe this nerd in 10 seconds, or I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get wiped in 10 seconds. But more importantly, every time I run into someone's name who I don't fucking recognize, they just fucking leave when they start to lose. I'm like, whatever, fuck this, I'm done. So yeah, I'm like, okay, I've proven to myself that I'm slightly better than where I was at the start of this journey. Let's hop off and maybe focus on a different fighting game. Now, most normal people would probably hop on Street Fighter 6 right now because that's the big thing, and honestly, game is really fucking good. However, I felt like being a sicko, so I thought, you know what, maybe this is the time I finally have my SNK era, and I hop on the latest King of Fighters, the King of Fighters 15. Red, how much do you know about King of Fighters?
It's got that woman grappler. It's got that guy who's extremely effeminate.
Yeah,
and it's cool. It's got Terry.
Yeah, you're doing it.
It's got the woman that I can't remember why this was a thing, but people were begging for her in Smash. Shiranui, or something.
Mai.
Yeah, Mai. And I remember the image of someone posting saying like, yeah, you could get her into Smash easy. You just give her this like, and give her like a full black bodysuit under her regular outfit, and then drew up a mock of this, and everyone was like, no, this is hornier. This is yeah, that's about all I know. Oh, also, there's some fucking... okay, the thing I do know is that Sejam likes to open with it on Will It Kill because it spooks people.
It is a ridiculous game. Nothing really plays like King of Fighters. So fighting games have their own little sub-genres where you got like the tag fighters like Marvel that are ridiculous all over the place. The anime fighters like Guilty Gear and BlazBlue where everyone's air dashing. More classical traditional stuff like Street Fighter.
I was going to say except Under Night. Continue.
Yeah, there's Under Night. Under Night's certified anime fighter. Yeah, King of Fighters is oftentimes thrown in that kind of Street Fighter category. It is much faster than Street Fighter. It also has 4 different types of jumps, which is kind of the infamous thing when people first start playing King of Fighters, is they're like, what the fuck is going on? You have a hop, you have a hyper hop, which is a faster hop that goes further. You have your regular jump, and you have a super jump. Learning when to use all 4 of these is important to doing well in this game. The game is very fast. Timing for combos is unlike anything else I've ever played, but there's also like a lot of really weird shortcuts where you can enter the command for a lot of moves early and then hold down the button, and as long as you keep that button held down, the next move in the combo chain will come out. It's really weird. Ooh. I'm still getting used to it. I need to learn how to hop better.
I remember the demo for, is it 15, this one?
Yes, the latest one's 15.
Yeah, the demo for 15 came out, and I downloaded it and hopped into like training mode and was like, this is weird and scary, and backing out.
It is. I have felt that firsthand the last week, where I'm like, this game is weird and intimidating as hell. My buddy Johnson, like KOF 15's his main game now, longtime fighting game player, and we played 2 nights. We went like real late, just going at each other in sets. I have won 0 games against him. The skill gap is real in this game. There's just a lot of little weird things to learn. Like when you backdash in this game, your character kind of hops back, which means that you have a split second to use your aerial moves while dashing backwards, which opens up a lot of really cool defensive options too. However, this is also not universally true. Some characters just slide back on the ground. There's just so much to learn. I've also used this as an excuse to catch up on the King of Fighters story, which is not something I typically really care about. But I thought, hey, what's happening here? King of Fighters 13 was like this beautiful sprite-based game that everyone loved, even if they didn't play it, and was the end of that story arc. And when 14 came out, it looked ugly as shit, so I didn't pay any attention to it.
Yeah.
A lot of people also did this. 15, in my opinion, looks fine. It's a lot nicer looking. I miss the sprite work, obviously, but I've also accepted that they had to change for a reason. That was like murdering their artists.
I sort of slot how King of Fighters 15 looks in with how just like the way Street Fighter looks at the minute, where it's like completely cartoon people that have been rendered in 3D, and now the cartoonishness is like alarming.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
Yeah, and what I think helps is that 14 seemed to be going for more of a like realistic like fidelity type look. It looks like fucking one of those like Jump Heroes like crossover Bandai Arena Fighter. It looks bad. 15, they very clearly went for a more like manga-y, comic booky stylized aesthetic, and I think it did wonders. A trailer came out recently for Garo City of the Wolves, which seems to be even going further that direction. And it's like, yes, just please make them look more anime and less like you're trying to make like super cool 3D people or whatever. It just looks better. But because of that art shift, like a lot of casual King of Fighters people, I never really gave 14 or 15 the time of day. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? 14 and 15 are apparently a self-contained 2-part story arc, which is the shortest they've ever done it. And I was like, what's going on here? Is it just because a lot of people didn't hop back on because of the art style shift? Like, what's happening? And what I've realized is that, while I think that's part of it, I think the other part of it is this is where SNK said, okay, we don't fucking care about continuity anymore. This is full-on time travel, multiversal shenanigans. You mentioned the effeminate, cool-looking man.
So I know. So the thing that I found out about him, and I was like, oh, that's cool, was that he was the main character of one of the old games.
Yes, of the last story arc, he was the main. The story arc is named the Ash Crimson Saga. It is his story.
Damn.
He was cool. People hated him because he looked effeminate, which sucks.
Yeah, people suck.
Yes, he was cool because he was the protagonist, but also he was a villain. Like, he was the villain protagonist of the story. And the fighting game spoilers, who the fuck cares? At the end of 13, you learned that all of it was for the greater good, and what he was really trying to do was stop some evil ancestor of his from being unsealed onto the world. But to do this, he had to manipulate and fuck over a lot of people so that he could erase both he and his enemy from existence. Like, nice. It was all part of some broader scheme.
Yeah.
14 and 15 then follow up on this by bringing him back and being like, hey, that solved the problem, but also opened up weird dimensional gateways to other places, and like shit is invading now. And he's still around, but he's just like, I don't know, it was everyone else's problem, I guess. So there are these 2 new characters that have these weird phantom hand powers that are the new people. This is the main character of 14, which I'm gonna send.
Okay.
I want you to rank this design on a scale from 1 to 10. Copy image. This is Shune.
Let's have a. Let me open in browser. Let's have a closer. What are you doing, man?
It's bad. It's a bad design.
I'm not giving this a ranking out of 10. I'm just calling it bad. This is. I wouldn't. No. This is.
So. At some point.
Two.
There you go. Okay. At some point between 14 and 15, they were like, okay, we need to give the protagonists of the story arc a rival. We can't do that again. So then in 15, they made Isla, who I'm sending in chat.
Oh, this is better.
This is a banger. This is one of my favorite KOF designs.
Oh, the hands? Oh, excellent.
Yes. She works
together. Oh, the
together.
gas mask. She's cool.
Yes. She does graffiti. Her level 3 is her, like, a lot of her moves are her throwing spray cans at people. It fucking rules. Nice. Extremely jet set radio coded.
Yes.
She works, her hands are kind of their own personality, and when she wins matches, she'll, like, pose with them or high five. It's great. She calls them Amanda, which is the name of an ex who cheated on me, so that's a little weird, but aside from that, 10 out of 10 character. Good, like, learning her has been an absolute joy. She also can jump off of her hands, and depending on what strength of button you use and what motion you do, she has different trajectories.
Oh my fucking god.
And then also depending on what jump you do, you can use one of your aerial moves after. So I've learned what I can do with this character is I can regular jump past them, use the hands to jump backwards, and then use one of my aerial moves to dive kick in on someone and cross them out. It just doing gymnastics in the air above people and just making them confused as hell. It's a great time. Wonderful character. Mm-hmm. I've also been learning Rock Howard, who
what a name.
Rock Howard, son of Geese Howard. I also think is funny because just completely represents that SNK does not seem to give a fuck about the... Okay, I feel like you... Do you know about the difference between the Fatal Fury and KOF thing at all?
Okay, so I know that it's the same people who made it.
Yes.
One is literally... It's Street Fighter people who left Street Fighter and literally just made a Street Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Fatal Fury?
It's both. Like,
okay.
King of... So Fatal Fury and Art of Fighting were two Street Fighter-like games.
And King of Fighters is the union of both of them.
It's the union of both, and then later on also other SNK games like Ikari Warriors, Psycho Soldier.
Right.
It's their big crossover thing.
Yeah.
Over time, SNK has gone through many...
It's the Avengers Endgame of fighting games.
True. Over time, as SNK has seen better days, let's just say King of Fighters has just kind of become their thing. So... Mm-hmm. Like, it would be like if the fucking MCU finally imploded and they're just like, everything's a fucking Avengers, fuck it.
Yeah.
But Fatal Fury, so at first, it was pretty apparent, like, oh, this is all supposed to kind of exist in the same general, like, SNK world or whatever. Eventually, Fatal Fury broke off and became its own continuity, and King of Fighters is also now considered its own continuity. But it's weird because things that happen in one are kind of reflected, like, yeah, a version of that kind of sort of happened in the other. Garou is the latest Fatal Fury game that was made, and it's kind of like Third Strike in that it's like a time skip where the main character is Rock Howard, who is the old villain Geese Howard's son that Terry adopts after killing Geese. So you get kind of like that JoJo thing of like, oh, it's the villain's bloodline, but raised to be a hero sort of thing. So you get a lot of like emotional conflict and shit. At the end of Garou, it leaves off on a cliffhanger where the new villain's like, hey, dude, just work for me for a bit. We're going to go find your mom. She's still alive. And Terry's like, you're gonna side with the villain? And Rock's like, yeah, I'll be back. And Terry's like, yeah, I trust you, kid. And 20 years later, we will finally get a fucking resolution to that cliffhanger.
Oh my fucking god.
Yeah, it's wild. But King of Fighters, Rock is just now a guy, and like they're just kind of glossing over the time skip thing, it seems.
Okay.
So I've just kind of taken it that it seems like 14 and 15 are them finding their footing and just being like, okay, this is kind of what these games are going to look and feel like moving forward, and just fuck the story thing. It's all like characters are resurrected in 15 because of time travel bullshit, and they're just like, hey, you're back, I guess.
Okay, the other thing about King of Fighters that I know, looking up Rock Howard reminds me of this. The other thing about King of Fighters that, you know, doesn't seem as true anymore now that they had to keep making more characters for it, is that it's the game where everyone just wears jeans.
Yes.
And they don't have outfits. They just rock up, like, you know, they've just thrown on some clothes and it's like, yeah, we're fine now.
Yeah.
But yeah, except my.
Yeah. Sometimes you get people in military uniforms too. Those are the Ikari warriors, people without fail. Okay. It's a game, all right. I say all of this story stuff just because I do broadly think this is for the best. I think, again, SNK has seen better days. It's very apparent compared to, like, Capcom or Namco with Tekken. Like, you know, King of Fighters is a big name in the fighting game scene, but they do not have the resources to make that level of, like, game. So I think them just going like, fuck it, we're just gonna find whatever excuse to get all of the cool people in that people like into our games again, I think is a good call. It's a fun time. I am very intimidated learning it. I have played, aside from fighting against Johnson, I've played one set of ranked matches with one person, and we fought like 5 times and I won 2. The 2 times I won were some of the most, like, satisfying fighting game victories I've felt in a while, just because you have to fucking work for it. It is a great time. I am excited to crack the code of learning an SNK game finally, and I'm really looking forward to that new Garou, because original Garou, fun as hell game. Good time. So
nice.
Now, moving on to what you...
Let's go.
So... I bought a new TV. And...
Oh, it's a fucking looking up an online recipe. Please continue.
Super Marionation is a long-held tradition in the British Isles. Sometimes after a hard day... I'm not going to do this to you. But the Too Long Didn't Read is the... Okay, I do need to tell the story.
No, I had to make the joke, but you can continue.
I've wanted a new TV for a while just because I've had the same one for a bit, and it's fine. It's a big old, like, decent size, like, 1080p TV that's nice. It has, like, some smart TV features or whatever. I have a button on my remote for YouTube and Netflix. What more does a man need in this world? But, you know, I did kind of want something that, one, had a little bit less input lag, because my experience at Combo Breaker made me realize, Jesus Christ, that TV, not very good for practicing shit when you end up going to the actual competition, and it's like, oh, I didn't know what I was missing out on. Everything feels so much more responsive here, playing on these gamer-ass gamer setups. And then also, too, it's just, you know, it'd be nice having a 4K TV. I don't actually care that much about the difference, but I'm just like that, you know, I might as well adopt the latest thing or whatever. So I was planning on saving up, and maybe towards the end of the year, maybe if, you know, I had a little bit of Christmas money, like, put some of that towards that or whatever. Out of the blue, my friend Shane calls me and is like, hey, you know that guy who I know who runs a fucking game store? I was like, yeah. He's like, he has some TVs he wants to sell. Would you want one? And I was like, yeah, fuck it. If this is not a sign from the universe to buy a TV, I don't know what is. This is the same way that I bought my copy of Steel Battalion, by the way. Shout outs to that guy. So I got sent this TV in a box without the instruction manual, and I just kind of had to figure out how to put up. I had to figure out how the stand got put together myself. It was kind of annoying, but I ended up moving my old living room TV to my bedroom. When I was laying in bed, waiting for the last episode of our podcast to render out in video form, I went, this seems as good a time as any to turn on some fucking Thunderbirds.
Let's fucking go.
So, because the service I had chosen for this is the weirdest
Oh yeah, you got fucked.
They don't have season 1 on YouTube has
What?
all of them.
Oh,
But-
yes.
I originally was like, I'm just gonna fucking whatever. I'm on my Prime Video app and Thunderbirds is on my screen. I'll click on the Thunderbirds and hit play. They only have season 2 there for some fucking reason. So I was like, this is a really weird way to start your series. I feel like they're not really introducing any. Oh, okay, no, never mind. This is season 2, episode 1, where a sea platform called, I think, the Seascape collapses. And it's a bad time. There's a lot of oil fires.
Yes.
And the dad is on vacation and doesn't trust his children to do their jobs without him being there. And Lady Penelope, is that their mom, by the way? Or is that
No,
a
Lady...
separate...
No.
Okay. I don't know. I was trying to figure this out the whole time.
Let me, there we go. There we go, that's tweeted. Alright.
So
No, she is not. She's
Listen,
their
I'm just
British.
saying.
She's their British agent. They have they have a bunch of different agents around the world, but they mainly do Britain because it's a Jerry Aniston show. And Lady Penelope is their agent in Britain. She has a fancy pink car and her butler called Parker, who says "milady" a lot.
Yeah, and it's very sad because he gets bullied around and told to pack things and then unpack things when the fucking is it Commander Tracy is his name? Captain something.
Which one? The dad?
The dad. What's his name again?
Ooh,
I forget I forgot their last name already. Is it Tracy? Are they the
their last name
Tracys?
is Tracy. The last name is Tracy.
Okay. But he's all in a tizzy because he doesn't trust his sons to do the fucking Thunderbirding well.
He doesn't do any fucking Thunderbirding. He should trust them.
And then Lady Penelope is like, you should trust your kids more. And it felt very mom-coded, that episode, which is why I was like, I couldn't tell. So the other thing I know is that episode started with Lady Penelope blowing up a tunnel in Australia so people could get through. And I was like, oh, damn, she goes hard. But, yeah. It was fun finally seeing Thunderbirds after experiencing so much Ultraman. It looks way better. You were not wrong.
Yes, yes. This is the thing about Ultraman and Ultraseven's. Like they're getting better like very quickly. But Ultraman in particular was like, it's very charming that this is your literal first go at it, and it's very clear. But you know, power to you.
I can't wait to watch the actual first episode and know what the fuck is going on, and it apparently gets some better introduction to this world.
There's also the problem that the first episode has the hood in it, and that's a little racist.
Okay, so here's the thing. The whole fucking episode, I was waiting for it to be revealed that all of this shit exploding out at sea was going to be the result of some weird racist caricature man that I've been warned about. And no, it's just sometimes accidents happen, I guess.
Yeah, accidents happen. That's most Thunderbirds episodes are either accidents happen or negligence happens.
I see.
And I think the first episode of Thunderbirds is good. I think the second episode of Thunderbirds, because the first episode is a pilot, and the second episode
I would
is
argue
like
that all
the
five
actual...
of them are pilots.
Shut the fuck up. One of them is not a pilot. One of them is a submariner. One of them doesn't do shit. He's Supermaning in space. He's keeping an ear out for things happening, which I realize is important work. I didn't mean to imply that John Tracy doesn't do shit. I apologize, John. Could you tell? Are you able to tell me what the names of the Thunderbirds are?
One is Scott.
Yeah, we'll give you a point.
John?
That's Thunderbird 5.
Brains isn't one of the kids. He's just a guy,
No,
right?
he's a guy. He invented the Thunderbirds.
One of them starts with a G, I want to say. Is it Gary? Garrett?
Gordon.
Gordon, okay. I do not know the other two.
Virgil is Thunderbird 2. He's
yes,
very important.
Virgil.
And Alan is Thunderbird 3. He's the main character of the Thunderbirds movie from the 2000s.
Okay.
It's like a prequel or something, because he's not the pilot of Thunderbird 3 yet. They don't trust him to be a pilot because he's a teenager.
Oh, there is a part in the episode where whoever takes charge, the oldest son.
It's probably Scott.
I think it's Scott. He can't pilot his normal craft because he has to be in charge because Daddy's gone. And he's like, hey,
they said
don't...
Alan.
Yeah, and he's like, don't wreck it.
Yeah, Alan is the youngest. He gets. I feel like he gets the. Well, obviously John gets the least amount of action because he does nothing. But Alan gets the least amount of action because he has the spaceship, and they don't go to space as often as they do anything else. I suppose it's a toss-up between Gordon and Alan as to which is more situational.
I think Gordon's the submarine one, right?
Yes.
There's a
lot
of close-ups of him trying to push away debris to get to a safety capsule while more debris was falling onto him, and then close-ups on his face where they added little water droplets to the puppet to make it look like he was having one.
So good.
It was really fucking good.
How you feel about the puppets?
I'm not gonna lie, took a little bit of getting used to, but once I got used to the fact that they can't really move their mouths to change expression mid-scene, really.
Right. Yes.
Which, took some getting used to, because there's a scene where the crew of, obviously not main character puppets learns that, there's an oil fire, we have to evacuate, and there's just this guy sitting down looking at his tea, smirking into his teacup while he's learning about this oncoming disaster, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. The thing
they add blood to the puppets also too when they get banged up during the emergency, and I was like, I did not expect this.
Yeah, Thunderbirds goes hard. The next show goes harder because it's
Is that the Ideon one?
It's the Ideon one.
Okay.
It's like Cold War. There's episode 1. There is because a character gets body snatched, and as an assassination attempt on a president of I think the world or something, the world government. This doppelganger literally just self-destructs, suicide bombing. But the key thing that changes between Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet is that they make the heads a realistic size compared to the body. And for a lot of people, they feel like this ruins everything because, the realism just hampers what they can do with the puppets.
Oh.
And there's less they're less expressive and stuff, like they can do less with them. But you know, I still have Captain Scarlet on my on a Blu-ray. And I'm
on a hard copy.
Yeah, a hard copy. That was what I was gonna say. I'm gonna keep watching that because I do like it. But Thunderbirds is the big one,
as I've learned repeatedly.
Yes, this arc has been so good. This is maybe secretly my favorite part of this podcast. Was the day I realized you just didn't know that I was being serious when I said that everything was really Thunderbirds.
Well, it doesn't help that like a fucking curse everywhere I looked in life from that moment on.
Yes.
Just
Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds showed up.
Yeah, the world just started laughing at you. It was really good.
It was so it felt legitimately semi-paranormal.
Oh, that's fantastic. Wow.
Yeah, it was overall a fun time. I'm excited to watch more. And I guess my only other thought was speaking, this is going back to our skipping the queue we recorded earlier. Holy shit, I feel like my nephew would love this.
Yes.
It's been a minute because of the types of shit that I go back to, or like just watch, and my sensibilities. Even when watching children's entertainment, it's like, oh hey, sometimes you just remember, oh yeah, like I got some blind areas or whatever. Including, God, was there just a type of show of this style made for kids that were just really into fucking vehicles, and then that was the point. Like, it took me a bit to realize and for it to click, like, oh yes, just you are here to see the cool vehicle do the cool thing that you can then do with the toy later on. And it was the moment that the little cargo container drops and then the boat comes out that made me go, oh, this is some kid is having the time of his life in a bathtub somewhere reenacting this episode.
I had a Thunderbird too, and it came with little mini things in all the capsules. It was fantastic. Thunderbirds, big deal for kids. I was very young. I was maybe like 4 or 5, and I still very, very clearly remember the first time I saw Thunderbirds.
And then 2, also watching the submarine launch from the capsule, going, oh, this explains so much about the fucking nerve launch sequences.
Yes.
Yes. It's just this.
Everything. There's the when Thunderbird
all the platforms and shit.
Yeah, when Thunderbird 1 launches, and because like I remember watching the first episode of Evangelion, and I was like, oh, this is all very Thunderbirds. And then the music started playing, and I was like, okay, the music's very Thunderbirds too. Okay, I see. You're big into Thunderbirds, are you, Anna? Yeah.
I also apparently have since learned that part of the reason it got canceled when it did was because it explicitly was not able to get, like, shown in America or something, I thought I read.
I don't know the specifics, but I know that there was a plan to make more of it, and then it fell through, which was, like, a mystery to the people actually working on, because like it was a huge success, like to the point that they made movies for it. But instead they scrapped it, and the Andersons did their thing and moved on to the next one. Captain Scarlet, and then it goes like in color. It goes Stingray, Thunderbirds, Joe 90, and then one that is way too mixed media, that is like it switches between real people and puppets all the time. And it's like a spy thing, and it's also like a riff on like a particular actor's or like a particular comedian's way of speaking, is like the whole premise of the show, and it was a disaster.
It sounds like a disaster.
And then they make UFO, which you know, I've sent the opening for UFO. Anno also ripping that off.
Yeah, whenever I hear puppet and comedian in the same sentence, I just think of that one asshole that does the racist
Oh my god!
shit. So I don't even fucking remember his name, but you know what I'm talking about.
I haven't thought about that man in years.
I haven't either. And then I want to say when I was okay. So to be fair, I say staring at the cameras, my face ages. This was a while ago, but when I was in college, I remember. I think he was either my campus or one near it. He was like he was gonna have a performance, and I was like, he's still around. What the fuck is going on?
What's his name?
Jeff something, right?
Oh, Jeff Dunham.
Oh, that's the prick. Fuck that guy. Anyways,
Fuck that guy. Yeah.
I watched one other thing because after I had set up my TV and tested out the video game optimization features, which I learned are mostly bullshit, and it's just please put it on the low input mode, and then you're good to go. Okay, actually, one thing that I'm calling out LG, the company.
LG, are you listening?
Yeah.
You better be.
So this TV has 5 game modes that are broken down by genre. There is an FPS mode, like a sports mode, an RPG mode, and I'm like, what is this tweaking?
RPG mode?
What does this do? Who is this for? Who gets to decide this? I do not know.
That's weird.
It's really weird. I just turned all of that shit to standard and low frequency mode on, and it's fine.
I assume the FPS, either the FPS or the sports one, turns on like smoothing or something. I don't know.
It's weird. It's I don't know. I would just like things to look good and not have weird AI up-resing and smooth motioning shit on by default. That's the worst part of setting up any new monitor or TV.
There is a fight scene from a movie, from an RPG movie, the Madoka movie, that I want to watch that fight scene sometimes. And, you know, without watching the whole movie. And always, the first version that comes up on YouTube is the 60 FPS version. And I want to kill somebody every time. Enraging.
The worst.
It makes me so mad.
I made a tweet the other day that was like heartbreaking. This obscure anime OP has only been uploaded onto YouTube in 60 FPS.
No.
AI up-resed 4K.
Always remember, animethemes.moe is your friend.
True.
Dear listener. Except when they're missing something, which, you know, it happens.
You know what anime has a good theme, speaking of? Fucking Nausicaä of the Valley of the Wind, which I rewatched because I want a pretty movie to break in this new TV with.
That's a pretty movie.
Probably still my favorite Miyazaki. Probably still my favorite Ghibli. I have a soft spot for Howl's Moving Castle. That movie is kind of a narrative mess, but there's a lot of little bits of it that I like a lot. Calcifer's an all-time guy. It's kind of weird to adapt like a beloved like kids book and then also use it as your platform to be like, okay, hold on, I gotta talk about the Iraq War. But you know, we can't all be perfect. I think it's kind of cool when Howl turns into a funny Birdman. I don't know. I have a real weird soft spot for that movie in particular, even though I'm not a Miyazaki Ghibli hater, but I don't think I'm like a enthusiast either. I'm just kind of like, yeah, that's all right. I think Nausicaä.
I need to watch more Miyazaki movies so I can be a more coherent Miyazaki hater than I am.
My one hot take that I feel like isn't honestly that hot anymore is that I think Mononoke is just worse Nausicaa.
I have heard this.
Yeah. But otherwise everything's all right. Like Spirited Away is like, that's just a fun little time. That's how I feel. That's how I feel about the majority of his movies. I'm like, that was a fun little time. And then I stopped thinking about them.
I have this is not one of his movies. I watched the first 20 minutes of Grave of the Fireflies like a month ago, and I was like, it was like 1 a.m. and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this right now.
That is a movie that you want to find a good time to watch.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, hang on. This was a bad idea. I should watch this at a better time.
Did I ever tell? Probably not. I knew a guy growing up who broke up with his girlfriend over that movie.
Okay. Can you are you allowed to tell me this story?
Yes.
Okay.
I never met this woman, but I say we were like 16, but he showed her Grave of the Fireflies because she had heard it was like an important movie or whatever, and she was like, "Oh, I just think these kids were so fucking annoying." And he was like, And that relationship did not last much longer.
God damn. God damn. Holy shit.
Never met that person ever, but whenever I hear her name come up, I think about that and I'm like, I bet there was... It's just not normal.
Wow. Wild.
Yep.
Wild thing to say. Ooh.
Yeah. God, I want to watch Barefoot again, which I know is in that same wheelhouse too, and I have yet to see. But Nausicaä. You've seen Nausicaä, right?
I've seen Nausicaä.
Yeah.
I watched it fairly recently, actually, but yes.
It's just a wonderful little movie. The dub is shockingly good. I decided to watch that because last time I had watched it subbed, and I remember, like, you know, the subs or the dubs for all of these like tend to be pretty solid because they're like, they pull out all the stops.
There was like I think it was maybe when Spirited Away came out or something. They went back and because you know, Nausicaa is not technically a Ghibli movie.
It was before
yeah, but it's like it gets pushed as like, oh, Ghibli movie because like Spirited Away had happened, and they got like this. They got a dub with fucking Patrick Stewart. Like Patrick Stewart's in that dub,
there
right?
too. There's a lot of people that are all over the place.
Yeah,
Cam Clark.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yes, Patrick Stewart is Lord Yupa. What a fucking cast.
Oh wait, no, sorry. Cam Clark was the old dub, and then was replaced by Shia LaBeouf for Asbo.
Okay. Well, we can't all be victory. It's not all.
Edward James Olmos was Mita. What the fuck? Okay. Yeah.
Ludicrous. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's I have not watched the dub, but I have heard it's just very good.
It's solid. And the thing that I've always heard about those dubs too, that I don't know if this is true, and I would totally believe this is internet bullshit, but sounds accurate to my ears, is that the way they dubbed them was to make it sound as if it was a dub that was contemporary to the film. Like, they didn't make it sound modern.
Oh, okay. That's funny. That's my favorite example of that going around right now is watching people in a Discord we're both in react to Tomino putting artificial grain in the digipaint sections of a new translation movies.
Fun times. Yeah, Nausicaa is just... It's just a fun, wholesome, like, I feel like I could show this to anyone and they'd have a good time movie. Nausicaa herself is just wonderful. Like, whenever I think of Cool Princess, she's somewhere in the top 5. So much of Final Fantasy. Yeah, speaking of things that are fucking super influential to RPGs, so much of Final Fantasy is just in that movie. It's ridiculous.
It's great.
It's just cool. The weird bug things, amazing. The weird goop giant that fucking launched Anno's career, Cool.
The weird impotent goop giant.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
I think the one thing actually every time I watch this movie, like many movies, I feel like I find something new to like appreciate. This time around, it's the little shit henchman guy who gets to be in charge for a bit, and as soon as the cool commander lady comes back,
good.
as soon as the commander lady comes, so the commander lady is gone, and he gets word like, okay, her ship went down, like it just blew up, and of course nobody fucking died.
He literally gets a line that's like, huh. Maybe my hour has arrived. And then like half an hour later she comes back and he's like, I guess not.
But he literally says, well, that dream didn't last long. it's so good.
That's me. I'm not trying too hard.
Before that, there's a scene with her and him talking, and she says something like, no, we're not taking the giant back home. We're going to use its power to create our own nation here. I'm not gonna give it back to, like, because I'm pretty sure she's the princess of her own nation too. She's like, I'm not gonna give it back to my family. They're a bunch of assholes or whatever. And he says something like, yeah, that giant would only be used by a bunch of like bureaucrats and nobles with the worst of intentions. But I'm just a lowly soldier. I don't have an opinion about these things. And she literally looks at him and goes, "Oh, you weasel!" It's so good. Great guy.
Yeah. I should read the manga at some point.
Same. I have heard wonderful things about that manga. I know it's very much like Akira, where it's like once you read it, it's like, oh, like the movie kind of pales in comparison. That being said,
you immediately become the annoying kind of guy who's like, yeah, the movie's okay.
See, the thing is though, is I feel like with Akira, at least, I've been able to compartmentalize where I still appreciate that movie a lot for managing to do what it does within the confines of how it was made pretty well, in my opinion. That movie is kind of too long and kind of weird with how it has to adapt things, but I think overall it works pretty well, and I think the result was pretty well done. I have a feeling I'll probably feel the same way about Nausicaä, just because it's like, like on its own as like a movie thing, it's pretty solid.
I also suspect that Miyazaki is maybe better at making movies than manga, is gonna be my guess. Like I expect that I'm not expecting the manga to like blow me away in terms of how it looks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I might go through and do like a Ghibli, like, go like marathon of just like, fuck it. I started with the first, quote unquote first. It's like the Gurren Lagann thing where it's roped in, but it's not technically the first, you know what I mean?
Wait, what you didn't start with Cagliostro?
No.
You've ruined it. You fucked it.
True. That's still like the only Lupin thing I've really seen.
Mel is disappointed in both of us because it's the same.
But yeah, I'll probably
there's gotta be a happy medium between where we are and where Mel is, because that seemed like suffering going through part 2 of Lupin.
Yeah. True. I think that halfway point is playing Persona 5, am I right, Gabe?
Yep. That's what it is. That's what it's all about.
I wouldn't wish Persona 5 on my worst enemy. Anyways, so here's the problem.
Pyramid Dungeon's so fucking bad. Go continue.
I need to go on this journey, but before I do that, I think what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to crack open this illustrated hardcover collection of the Earthsea novels that I have since purchased ever since Mel talked about reading them.
Yeah.
And then I can go in to watch Goro's magnum opus.
Ooh, okay.
with the greatest of intentions.
Goro. Man.
Remember the Goro sweep with Earwig and the Witch?
Yeah.
Fucking ugliest goddamn thing I've ever seen in my life.
I haven't watched that movie. Maybe it's good. Who knows?
I haven't either. I've seen clips, and guess what? It's the ugliest goddamn thing I've seen in my life.
I will always cheer for Goro because his dad seems like an asshole.
Goro sweep.
Goro sweep. Someone said that like Shinkai was Miyazaki's descendant or something. There was like a headline that says like the true descendant of Miyazaki. And you know, Goro reading that like what the fuck, man?
Speaking of filmmakers I fucking hate.
I have to watch his movie about the chair. I have to watch his movie about the chair romance.
Now, the way Tomino worded his feelings on Shinkai movies may be a little weird, but
he was right.
He was kind of spitting. Speaking
yeah.
of spitting,
yeah,
Ultraseven.
Yeah, go ahead. Stick the landing.
Ultraseven spat on the child's dreams.
I guess.
The first episode that we're going to talk about today.
Sure. Now that we're an hour and a quarter, I don't know how we did this when Mel's not here.
What the fuck? Yeah, whatever.
But Ultraseven. Let me tell you about episode 16 of Ultraseven. The Eye That Shines in the Darkness. Is that his title? Okay. I'm safe. I did it. After going missing for 3 months while en route to study the planet Anon, I
promised myself I wouldn't laugh before recording, and it's fucking hit me like a truck anyways.
The thing is, it's like double N and then N, so it's probably more like Anon, like Anon.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm calling it Anon. The Sakura 9 rocket returns to Earth. Moroboshi and
I think you mean
Amagi...
Cherry Blossom 9.
Shut up. I mean the Sakura 9 rocket. Yeah, you can tell this is edited wiki. I've been picking up because Ultraseven wiki things have been a little more thorough about like because they don't do a full summary of the episode, but they do like the setup. And so I've been picking those up, editing them. And yeah, this week the Cherry Blossom 9 rocket returns to Earth. It's like, okay, wiki. That's
Can I summarize the next part with this quip from the book? Elsewhere, an oft-bullied boy named Hiroshi returns to a local playground.
Oh my god. What a fucking epithet. That sucks.
This is a rough one.
Duty-bound Hector, fleet-footed Achilles, oft-bullied Hiroshi.
Oft-bullied is how I feel when people talk to me about Thunderbirds.
Yeah. It's not bullying if you deserve it. Dan and Amagi, Dan, Ann, and Amagi are sent to investigate the mountain where the rocket landed, but when they arrive, the rocket explodes for seemingly no reason, perhaps self-destruction. Dan hears something that the others don't, and we see a giant glowing eye open from a wall of rock, watching Dan from afar. A boy named Hiroshi finds a rock in the shape of a four-legged creature and evades some kids trying to take it from him with the help of the giant eye. This is the bullying. He's oft-bullied. Later that night, the eye makes a deal with Hiroshi. Take the rock back to the mountain and I will make you powerful, and the other kids won't bother you then. Hiroshi accepts and sneaks out toward the mountain in the middle of the night. The Ultra Guard have done some investigating and figured out who Hiroshi is, what he has, and where he's going. A search has been arranged, but whenever the locals find Hiroshi, they get knocked unconscious by the glowing eye. Hiroshi returns the rock creature to the mountain before Dan can stop him, and a kaiju appears. Dan and Hiroshi fall a long way and are knocked unconscious. The Ultra Guard confront the kaiju, which tells them it is here in retaliation for the rocket launched at their planet. The Guard insist it was just an observation rocket, and the kaiju says, yeah, a likely story. Then Dan transforms into Ultraseven, has a scuffle with the kaiju, and then freezes it in place with his powers so he can explain, no, really, it was just an observation rocket. You can trust me, I'm an alien too. And the kaiju's like, all right, fair play, I'm off. And evacuates the body of the kaiju and flees to the stars, back to its home planet. And then they return Hiroshi to his family, and also his bullies are there, and they welcome him back.
They all hug it out.
And they all hug it out.
I know, kids. Week 1 week after.
Yes.
That status quo's returning.
Yeah, exactly. This is not a criticism. This is realist fiction. So yeah, at the end, what is it with Ultra shows and not spacing out similar episodes? What?
I don't know.
They keep doing it.
And that's saying something, because this is yet another Weird Rock episode, an all-time classic.
Yeah, it's a Weird Rock episode.
But it still manages to take shit from the last episode.
Yeah. This time it does not end in death. The alien does sincerely think that this is all self-defense. And then Ultraman's like, nah, it's fine. And the alien's like, oh, okay.
At least in my subs, he says something that implies, like, because I'm an alien, I can't lie. Which was weird. I think maybe what it was meant more so as was, I gain nothing from lying to you about humanity as a fellow alien, right. Maybe? But yes. The way it was worded was just like, it is impossible for an alien to lie, which I'm like, that's not true. I've seen the show.
What, they lied last week?
They lied last week.
I wish they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, the middle ground between this episode and last week's two-parter would be a fantastic episode. As it stands, last week's disappointing. This week, this is all right.
I liked this. I always feel like a dick when I say something like this, but I think my enjoyment of this episode was somewhat hindered by the kid's performance, and I feel bad always, like, whenever I have to say that, but I just don't think this kid had it.
Oft-Bullied Hiroshi getting bullied once again.
I'm part of the problem.
You're part of the problem. God damn.
Well, because there's the part on, I think it's the bridge where he starts to, like, see through the aliens, like, plan or whatever, and he goes, no, I'm not gonna do it, and then the alien's like, no, you are, and the kid's just kind of like, okay, and then picks up the rock and then keeps going, and it's the least believable argument I've seen in the show so far.
Mm-hmm. The one other thing that I'll say is like the one note that I made, which is that this approach is like, I think this does, because, you know, if you didn't watch Ultraman, there's a Mephiles episode in Ultraman. Mephiles shows up and he tries to convince a kid to give him the Earth or whatever, and it's not quite clear how a kid can give him the Earth. It's like, you know, it's doing like the temptation of Satan stuff. I feel like this does the Mephiles thing better, where it's like specifically appealing to like the kid's situation of like, man, you get picked on a lot. They wouldn't be able to pick on you if you had power, though.
Yeah.
And I think that making a deal with a child stuff is like a little better done here. I also the eye is cool.
The eye is cool. Towards the end, I kind of wish that they had more than one shot of it opening against the black background. Because I did think it was really cool, and honestly, like, one of the better effects I feel like I've seen this show, even though, like, it's just that same clip, and then they shine a green light on the actors, and then they, like, freak out and, like, you know, fall over or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, man, I wish you had like one or two more angles, just because towards the end they keep using the same clip.
Yeah, I think the alternative is use it less. Like they keep like they have like multiple people find Hiroshi on the search back, and every time it's like, wow, yeah, whip out the eye again.
And it was, so I know this was probably difficult, especially because a lot of this episode is just out in some guy's fucking field somewhere. But the few times we see the eye and it's like superimposed over like a surface on something in the world, it looks really fucking cool. And then for a lot of the actual like action shots where it's shining on people, it's just kind of like black void. But like on the bridge or whatever, if I recall, it's like just kind of hanging out like in the sky a little bit, and like that looks cool. It could have been on the bridge. I can't remember.
Yeah,
but...
there's like the bit when it appears on the tree, the bit when it appears on the stone rock, when it like genuinely feels like there was a surface and it opened up. I think that is definitely the better version of it than just the Black Void.
Would it surprise you to learn that this was the exact same writer and director duo as the Mephiles episode?
Oh, okay. Well, I feel like my cold shot there. I feel pretty proud of that.
Yeah, it was directed by Toshitsugu Suzuki, and then also written by Keisuke Fujikawa, known Macross hater.
Same. Kinda. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this one pretty solid.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I think the kaiju looks a little cute.
Let me look up the kaiju again.
It's just a weird, funny little dinosaur with like a kind of dorky neck and the green eyes.
Yeah, let me see the eye that shape. It's very helpful that all these
what I'll
episodes
say?
are just on YouTube.
You know what I'll say? This is a better rock monster than whatever that Ultra Q thing was. I don't even remember his name.
Oh, the one
Gorgos?
I don't think it was Gorgos. It was the one where the modern is the one with the modern Tarzan, right?
Yes, it's the one that got Monster Huntered.
And the MacGyver cop.
Yeah. Better rock monster than that one. We've come a long way.
Yeah, I am looking at this now. I do quite like the green eyes help.
Mm-hmm. Gorgos was the rock monster.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, Gorgos was a little bit meh. Basically just that episode was a little bit meh.
Yeah.
Sometimes the episode carries the monster. Like I don't know that I would be the biggest Jamila stan if I just saw what it looked like.
Oh, same. 100%.
Just on its own. But as it stands, Jamila, all-time guy, because of who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty decent episode. I don't have much more to say about it other than, you had your production notes. Still counting up the counter. Still no capsule monsters.
Yeah! What the fuck? I've been wrong. Next week. Next batch. Let's go.
What is going on? Where
they
did
made such
go?
a big deal about it early on.
It's so strange.
It's really weird.
Anyway, episode 17 of Ultraseven is called Underground Go Go Go, I think.
So it's called that in the booklet. I think the Blu-ray sometimes has different names, because I don't think that's what it was called on the Blu-ray.
Okay.
I know for a fact that the next episode that we talk about has a different name between the booklet and the Blu-ray, because I laughed at one of them.
Yes, one of them is very funny.
Yes.
Okay. So, this is an important episode of Ultraseven.
Episode 17 for some reason.
A cave-in traps Jiro, a miner, 3,000 feet below the Earth's surface. No one knows why these cave-ins are happening, but they keep happening, and the Ultra Guard is called in to handle it. The Ultra Guard learn that that everyone calls Jiro the Miracle Man, and he previously survived like a fall from climbing a cliff.
200 meters, they state.
200 meters. And Dan's like, now hang on a second. That sounds familiar. He uses his ultravision to see Jiro in his little hole underground, and his suspicions are confirmed. Jiro is his doppelganger. The Miracle Man had cut his own line while climbing the cliff to save his friend, and Ultraseven had caught him mid-fall and admired his brave soul so much that he adopted Jiro's form. And now Jiro was trapped in a cave-in because he ran back to save his little pet hamster. Truly, this man is skipping purgatory.
Was it a hamster?
Oh, this is some kind of little...
I thought it was a rat.
Was it a... Oh,
I think it was a rat.
Seem big enough to be a rat.
I don't know.
It might have been a mouse.
Yeah.
A Siberian dwarf hamster, maybe.
Sure.
Have you ever seen a dwarf hamster?
No.
They're so tiny. Anyway, the Ultra Guard deploy a brand new mole clone, and on their way to rescue did you get a mole in your Thunderbirds episode?
No.
Okay. I don't know how many episodes the mole shows up in. I know it's in like one of the early ones. Anyway,
this one's called the Magma Riser, which is a cool ass name.
It is
for something that digs underground.
Yeah. On their way to rescue Jiro, they accidentally run into the cause of the cave-ins, an underground city of robots. The robots kidnap Dan, and the rest of the guards start planting explosives everywhere, like it's fucking not The Eagle Has Landed, the other World War II movie about eagles. Where Eagles Dare. This is a strange reference, but there's a movie called Where Eagles Dare where they plant lots of plastic explosives. Anyway,
okay.
Dan transforms into Ultraseven. I don't know why I made this reference.
No, we gotta take swings sometimes.
Yeah, Dan transforms into Ultraseven, escapes confinement, and rescues Jiro. Then, as Dan, he rejoins the Guard as they escape the city. Now, unclear whether Ultraseven left the rodent behind.
Yeah, I also noticed this. Was this all for nothing?
I think this might have all been for nothing. He might have condemned, well, you know, Kath, animals don't have souls. They're not going to heaven.
True. It's
not worth saving.
As was explained to me several times as a child.
Oh, it's so fucked up.
It's so fucked
It's
up.
so fucked up. It's just like unnecessary cruelty to children. As well as, you know, obviously cruelty that the animals don't know you're being cruel to them about. But it's, you know, your pet dies and it's like, there's supposed to be a lesson about how things die. But also, extra lesson, that thing that died is not going to happen.
Yeah. I have often wondered what impact on my life happened when I was like 4 or 5 and our first dog passed, and I was explained to by a person at the church, no, you won't see him in heaven.
What the fuck?
I have a feeling not good to tell to a grieving child.
Oh, man. God damn. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gotta give my parents credit for that one. They were normal about it, thankfully.
Okay.
But
that's good.
Rest of the church, not so much.
With Jiro rescued, the Guard now observe as the underground city gets blown the fuck up, and the narrator says, that might have been an outpost for an alien invasion. But it also might have been a civilization that has existed on Earth for thousands of years. You don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of fucked up, huh? The end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes. It's not clear whether we fought for good or, like, absurdly evil reasons.
Nobody should mine anything, is what I think Ultra has told us.
Ever.
Damn. There's a lot of shit under there.
Ultraman shaking hands with Margaret Thatcher. All right. So, I mean, on many things, yes. This is a joke, but yes. Once and for all, confirmation on the nature of Dan. 17 episodes in.
What a weird, and also like none of this dude's friends thinks that it's weird that one of the, like, space cops that show up to rescue him look exactly like what he does.
Yes.
It's so weird. I went back and skimmed the episode because I'm like, surely someone must have made a comment after, like, the reveal of, like, oh, Dan's form is based off this guy he rescued. And, like, no, nobody says none of his friends say anything about it. It's so weird.
I feel like there was time to be saved from the robot city.
I do too.
Which was in the episode for some reason.
I think I like this episode, but it is another example of what I feel like I've talked about for like 3 weeks in a row now, where I appreciate that this show has a little bit more complex plotting, but like these two things do not have anything to do with each other.
No.
They just stumble
No, they
onto a
don't.
robot city and then blow it up.
Yeah. Just immediately destroy it.
And we don't really know if the cave-ins were like intentional as part of the robots like something.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It's a weird swing. It's like they had like I guess an explanation for the cave-ins, but like I think this of all episodes to do just generic underground kaiju monster of the earth, like you just dug too deep, of all the episodes to do that in, this one where you've got other shit you need to be paying attention to and expanding on. I think this is the one where you do like extremely generic monster, and the rest of the episode is what you give the focus to.
Yeah, it was. But you know what? Also, I realized we have not been reading Mel's reaction to these episodes.
Oh,
we should do that.
you are right, Mel. I'm sorry.
Same.
Episode 16. Well, okay. Let's do episode 17 notes while we're here. We'll loop back to episode 16 notes after.
Yes.
The kaiju is called Utom. I'm looking up Utom. What is? There it is. There's Utom. They got these weird like they got gun hands.
Yes. They're the most like 50s ass like made for TV sci-fi robots, and I kind of adore it for that.
Yeah, I've absolutely. These are guys in like extremely early Doctor Who, maybe as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rest of the Geo's trapped with his the world is a vampire. The world is a vampire. I don't know what this reference is.
The world is a vampire.
It's nice to Mel says it's nice to have some backstory on Seven's arrival on Earth and the origins of the damn persona. It is. I we had some like back and forth about like what is he? What's his deal? Because we don't really get anything in the first episode.
I didn't think we would ever get anything at this point.
Yeah, I figured it would just be a mystery. But
it's what this feels like. Remember that episode, that one weird random part in Ultraman where we see that he does turn into a little sparkle dust and then flies back to the ground after he flies away as Ultraman.
And then we later get a contrary explanation for how it happens.
What if we get a contrary Dan explanation?
Oh, let's fucking go. There's a second Dan doppelganger. There's 7 of them.
Oh, shit.
There's the 7 guys. He's a collection of 7 doppelgangers of anyway. Also fun that Moritsugu plays Dan and Jiro as distinct characters with different mannerisms and speech patterns. Yeah. The Magma Riser is a cooler vehicle and name than the drill in Ultraman. I
agree.
Though, and Red will like this, the mole does probably still look cooler. You're fucking right. Also, it has a laser. It does have a laser. The mole does not have a laser. The mole has like cannons on the front, I think, for breaking rocks apart. The shot of the gang running to the Magmarizer superimposed over the IRL footage of the mine is not great. I did notice this.
I don't think I did. Was they started it's not something they do often, but like they had the footage of them running to this tiny little model. For that matter, this episode is a cool Thunderbirds rescue mission that easily clears the gold on episode. That's true.
Yes, that is true.
So this time people run out of oxygen and it's actually dramatic and doesn't feel like a DBZ power-up sequence where we're filling time.
Yes, we do have fake Dan. Well, real Dan.
Real Dan.
real Dan, named Jiro. Slowly just like running out of air as gas fills the chamber that he's in. Mel says, for that matter, this episode says the introduction of the city does change the direction of the episode into something else, but she feels it overall works and isn't jarring, but it does feel a bit like its inclusion is because Ultraseven is the alien invasion season, and so we don't just have just a rescue mission episode. Yeah, I guess we can't just do the generic underground kaiju when we're doing all aliens all the time.
Yeah.
The robots are cool and have a Tommy gun. They do have a Tommy gun hand.
True.
This is true. I like that after Dan transforms, he prioritizes saving Jiro, and meanwhile, the rest of the team is actually taking care of things, including Anne is noted here. So something we haven't mentioned is at some point, Anne got a haircut. It was like last week or the week before.
Yeah.
And she's back on the team. She's doing things again. I don't know where she went for a bit there, but she just wasn't in the show.
She was hanging out with the capsule monsters.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Her and Mikkel wait, no, that's the Bloodborne guy. What the fuck's that guy's name?
What?
You know, the big one with the horns.
What? Oh, the capsule monster with the horns.
Yeah.
You said Mikkel and it threw me off so much.
Yeah, that's the...
This is cursed. The cursed, probably not true knowledge, but someone put on the Bloodborne wiki, and I don't think this is true, but someone put on the Bloodborne wiki that Mikkel is a Nicolas Cage reference because he's Mikkel and he has a cage on his head.
Shut the fuck up.
Why can Dan's belt do that? I can't remember what that is.
When he's being burned alive on that hot plate. He freezes one hand and then presses his belt, and then it gets the Ultra Eye to hover over to him magnetically or something.
Hey, Amagi, can I get this upgrade to my belt to pull my sunglasses towards me? Do not wonder about why the sunglasses look so weird.
Oh, you know what would have been a good bit? Is if in the episode of Blazer we just watched, where it's like, oh, you know, fucking engineer dude's so overworked, the boss just comes in, hey, I have a special request for my belt.
I need to be able to pull glasses towards me. Yeah. Do not ask why. Mel also notes it is kind of fucked up. They blow up an entire city without even figuring out what it is. They even laugh about it, and I'm 50-50 on how self-aware the episode is about this fact. Pretty good episode overall, though. It looks like you are extremely correct about the Utom. Utom apparently based off robot in the movie Forbidden Planet.
That makes sense.
Let me look up Forbidden Planet robots. Yes, these are extremely... Yeah. This is the Danger Will Robinson robot, right?
I think so. I don't actually know.
Am I thinking of something else? I am thinking of something else, because it would be Notice on this thing. I don't know what I've confused it with. Oh yeah, this is an evil robot. Okay, I see. Yes, I'm looking at this extremely old school poster. I'm posting this in the Discord. This is fantastic. All right. Mel's notes on episode 16 that we skipped.
Yeah, you're thinking of Lost in Space, by the way. That's what...
I was thinking of Lost in Space. That's what I was thinking of. I was Lost in Space robot. Yes, this is the robot I'm thinking of. Anyway,
before we go back to episode 16, I should say this was directed by Hajime Tsuburaya and then also written by Shozo Uehara, who did the Boss Dang and Statue of Goga episodes of Ultra Q, writing wise, then also wrote Monster Anarchy Zone, and then the that second to last weird planet episode of Ultraman.
Hello.
Nice.
Ah!
Nice.
It's Mel.
What are you doing here?
It's 3 a.m. and I got woken up, and so I was like, I gotta check my phone, and I checked my phone, and I was like, I have the opportunity to do something really funny.
I look forward to editing that in from the the backup.
Yep.
Hello. So we skipped your episode 16 notes. We're going back to them right now.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
All
fair.
right. Nice hearing from you.
Are you evil yet?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, we've wondered if you're on, like, you know, Rasmus's on a redemption, you're on a fall.
Yeah.
We've been recording for an hour and 44 minutes, so clearly it's not just that having 3 people makes the episodes go long.
That is fair. That is fair.
Alright, well, we're gonna crack on.
Yeah. I gotta get on engines. So, bye now. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
Have fun.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye. Okay. That was Mel, everybody. Were you in the middle of saying something?
I don't know anymore. I got jump scared by Mel.
We got Mel jump scared.
We did.
All right. Episode 16. The kaiju is called Anon. It's called Anon. The eye is pretty cool, but Hiroshi as a kid protagonist is, man, you're both bullies. Why are they after me? Gee, I don't know. Why do people generally send out search parties for missing children? You're both bullies. The alien in this episode having the same motivation as the 2-parter that directly preceded this episode is kind of baffling and weakens the episode IMO. I do like how this time negotiations actually succeed and the alien leaves peacefully, though. I don't got much to say, lol. This episode is okay. Yeah, same.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what we said too.
Thank you, Mel.
It was worth going back, though, because, I think that kid needs some more bullying.
Yeah, now I'm outnumbered now. I'm a Hiroshi defender, I guess. God damn. Never thought I'd be... Okay.
Oft-Bullied.
That's absolutely the episode title.
I knew it as
Oft-Bullied.
soon as it was said.
It's fantastic. Do we have anything more to say about this episode?
I don't. I think that this was probably my least favorite of the bunch.
Which is a shame, because it's an important one.
Yeah, but it just made me wonder, like, why did you do it like that?
Alright, well, episode 18 of Ultra 7 is called Escape from Space X, which is how I feel every fucking day.
Honestly, same. So on the Blu-ray, it's called that, and this is the first episode of the 3rd Blu-ray. So as soon as I put this in and saw that in the menu, I laughed my ass off.
Oh my god.
And in the booklet, it says Escape Dimension X.
Oh, alright.
Fuck off! It ain't that. It ain't that.
It's SpaceX.
We know better. SpaceX.
This is my shortest summary. But like, there's more. This is not necessarily indicative of there's nothing in the episode. It's just that the actual plot is slightly bare. On a skydiving exercise, Amagi and Soga disappear, landing in a fog-enshrouded forest in what seems like some alternate dimension. Separated from Soga, Amagi is spooked by wildlife and also a giant ghost kaiju. He handles it as best he can and rescues Soga from a swamp. The two regain contact with the Ultra Guard, but nobody can figure out where the hell they are. That is, until Amagi and Soga look up and see the Earth looming massive in the sky above them. They're in some kind of pocket dimension. Eventually, the Ultra Guard track down this SpaceX and figure out it's hidden in a strange cloud. They enter the space and rescue Soga and Amagi from more wildlife. They're still under attack, but the ghost kaiju is going to cause more problems. Dan's like, don't worry, boss. I can handle the ghost kaiju. Please don't ask me how, and leave. And the rest of the guard return to the ship. Anne, naive woman that she is, insists they can't leave without Dan, and Kiriyama has to make the tough call to leave him behind. Meanwhile, Ultra 7 kicks the kaiju's ass and then sneaks on board the ship and calls the cockpit like, yo, I'm in the trunk, lol. The end. a very broad there because most of this episode is atmosphere.
There was a point where I paused this episode to get up and get something to eat, and I came back and I saw the timeline for how far we were, and I was like, nothing's happened yet. What do you mean we're like...
Yes. There's like very little actually happening, but the thing here is that Amagi and Soga are in distress, and that's most of the episode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I like that our guys are guys at this point. Like, Amagi and Soga are, I go like, oh, Amagi, Soga, the boys. They're in distress. They need saving. And it doesn't quite feel like how it sometimes was with Ultraman, where it was like there is Ide and there is everyone else. This time
I still kind of feel like Furuhashi, even though he's returning, I feel like he's gotten the least to do out of everyone.
He's gotten the least to do. It's so weird.
Their commitment to asking a key member of the old cast to come back and then proceeding to do fuck all with them is admirable.
That's the bit. They're going to do the same for the return of Ultraman.
Like it's almost like they signed on. They're like, hey, as your reward, do you want like a second fucking paycheck? We're not going to have you do much shit. Just fucking just stand around a few times, say a few lines.
Maybe we'll give you an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll give your shit that was your old character to a new character. How's that?
Yeah.
They're the sharpshooter now. The spider gun makes an appearance in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
They don't call it the spider shot, but it is the spider gun. It's very different. It's way bigger.
I enjoy the boys fighting the little puppet alien.
Yes, the puppet aliens are good. I have liked the use of puppets in Ultra 7 so far.
They look so stupid in the most endearing way. I love them to death.
Yes.
This little man's just wobbling around on the grass shooting out smoke.
I don't want to be mean to this episode, but I kind of want to pull up Mel's notes already.
That's my thing, is that nothing really happens, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, this is fun. Like, they almost drown for a bit there. They fight a weird alien spider thingy. Everyone's having a bad time. You watch the Dream Island fade away to nothingness as everyone escapes, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
we're in and out.
I did like the moment where they looked up and saw all the Earth, and it was like, I was like, if I could edit images competently, I would put Ohio. I would just make it Ohio, and I'd do the always has been.
I do think it's funny when they're like, oh, that's the archipelago of Japan. Imagine that.
That's it. It's right there.
Yeah.
So, Mel's notes for episode 18 of Ultra 7. The kaiju is called Alien Bell. There's a bunch of other stuff. There's the parasites are called Akari. The big bugs are called Gumonga. And the vines are called Sufflan.
Wait, that's the same as...
That's from Ultraman, I think.
That's from Ultraman. Those are those vines, which weirdly showed up in 2 episodes.
Yeah, they did. They keep making a return. I guess that's easy.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Mel's next note reads episode title, I also want to escape from the muskrat. Thank
True.
You, Mel. Do you think Scarred also does skydiving for training? Yes.
You know what?
Okay, who's the one who's afraid of jumping?
Ooh.
It's not Gento. We have confirmation.
I feel like it would... Shit, I need to think. I feel like it would be Yasunobu.
Ooh. That could work.
Maybe this could just be recency bias because he's on the brain because he was at the last episode. But
Yeah,
I feel like it'd be him.
I was thinking Teruaki has the vibe.
Maybe.
To me. Maybe. If Teruaki's episode is that he's scared of heights and can't skydive,
That'd be sick.
That'd be funny.
Because it's neither Henri or Emmy are out of the equation.
No, yeah. And you know, Gento did the Halo jump.
Gento did the thing. He did the world's first Halo jump.
Yeah. Mel says, I like that we're getting a survival episode. Lots of unique premises this season. Yeah, like I said, not loads happening in the episode, but you know, it's almost unfair to rate it by how much plot wise is happening, because that's not what the episode is.
Yeah.
Mel's next note, what do you mean they're not on Earth? Manabe, the TDF chief guy, bringing the Ichinotani energy. So this guy has been showing up more frequently, and I guess for this batch, they just kind of latched onto one guy as their commander instead of having like 3 or 4. Which means we're not getting more Jun, maybe. F. Soga, as Arashi's trigger, hang on. Soga naturally comes with his own spider gun. Yes. Imagine if they went... Imagine if they went to the cloud and found Totala instead.
Instant all-time episode. Skyrocketing into the top of the Ultra 7 episode ranking.
Number 1 with a bullet. Fantastic. Oh, Totala as a returning God, imagine.
If we had an episode where both Totala and the Vines reappeared, I would be howling.
Yes. How did Dan force himself to transform without the Ultra Eye? I did not notice that, but that is a good point. Funny that of all the kaiju to return for Ultra 7, it's the plant. Yes.
Yeah, that is bizarre. Again, probably the easiest one to do.
Yeah, it's like the one where if it returns, no one's gonna send letters in.
Yeah.
Like, well, I mean, I guess there's always one. Maybe the guy. Yeah, I was just gonna say he's the one. He's like, Hajime, I have a little question.
The fact that it appears on this dream planet, does that mean that the ones in real life are a dream too?
She's like, shut the fuck up. I will set my dad on you.
I know I'm the oft-bullied one of the team, but I just really care about the continuity of the kaiju.
Oh man.
Happy I have my Otomo voice now. It took me a little while to find
Speaking
it.
of him, trivia time. There's a spider kaiju called Kumonga from Son of Godzilla. Yes. Hang on. Is this because? Oh, that's because there's a bug monster in this called Kumonga. And there's a Kumonga in Son of Godzilla. And this episode aired like a year later. Well, like 3 months later. Well, 2 or 3. Alien Bell has a Kumonga shell on its back. Okay. Yeah. And another good episode. Also, hey, we got another puppet kaiju. We did.
Yeah.
Mel's final note before we continue with our episode. Capsule countdown, 15 episodes. I am still owned.
That's like 1/3 of the show.
Yeah. What the fuck is going on?
It's like... It's such a slam dunk idea, too. It's baffling that they have not used this. No capsule monster fun for anyone.
No capsule monster fun for... Especially, I just feel like... That's a toy. You're supposed to be selling toys.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Sell the toys better.
I'm calling it next batch. We're getting one. I can't be wrong 3 times in a row. It's not possible.
Yes, you fucking can. Yeah, 15 episodes. Mel, the oft-bullied one. It turns out.
Yeah.
Every week. Yeah, I I think this episode, I do like this episode, but there isn't like much to talk about really.
This episode is poison to some people in our situation making a podcast like this, but
Yes.
for normal people watching the fucking thing, this is perfectly fine, good television.
Yeah. Have you given the production notes for this one?
No,
Have
it's
I asked?
Hajime Tsuburaya and Tetsuo Kinjo. Which, honestly, this feels like a thing both of those two
Yes.
would make. So,
Yes.
the only other note I had is the big one, which was the Gumanga. Like, I don't think that this necessarily was an influence per se, but did kind of give me, like, Imperfect Cell, like, vibes. A little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you mean. Imperfect Cell's so cool.
So fucking good. We don't talk about semi-perfect cell. Imperfect cell and perfect cell. Great designs.
It's a decent episode. It's a good episode.
Yeah. Better week than last week, IMO.
Yeah, last week was a bit of a letdown. Last week could have been so good. Melvin, save us. Melvin Bepp? Was that his last name?
Wep. I think it's Wep.
Wep. Melvin. It's Melvin Wep.
I don't think we're ever going to see good old Melvin again.
Oh. Well, I suppose that's his job, is to move unseen.
Mm-hmm.
Godspeed, Melvin Wep. I hope you find a better job than being a spy for the United States of America. But, you know, you are cool nonetheless. All right. Well, if we're done talking about Ultra 7, we can move into plugs, I think.
Yeah.
If you want to follow the show, we're still only on Twitter for now. We'll see. You can follow the show at ultra_QUE at ultra_Q. That is at ultra_QUEUE. I tried to skip steps there and got very tangled.
Damn.
If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at gender_redacted. Razen.
You can find me everywhere at Rasenbrand. That's RASENBRAN. I have a YouTube channel that's long remains dormant, but will maybe one day reawaken. I've been busy. I'm gonna be gone this weekend again, hanging out.
The return of Rasenbrand.
Yeah, someday it'll happen. I need to fucking make that Armored Core video, but we'll see if I get that done in a timely manner. I'm gonna try to haul ass and do it, but I don't know if work will allow. Story of my fucking life. And yeah, if you want to bully Red about their Super Robot Wars opinions, you can go to
What the fuck?
I saw
Why
that
did
happen.
why did that account take such offense to my tweet?
I don't know. I saw that happen and I almost said something like I'm just not going to get involved, but that was stupid.
It's only Super Robot Wars. Please calm down. I know that's the whole gimmick of your account, but you know,
I just thought it was
relax.
funny because that same account probably had the same opportunity to yell at me and did not take the shot. I don't know why they did with you, but
you can yell at me all you like on Twitter. I can take it. I'm Scorpio. Fuck you. I'll have a fight on Twitter. Sit the fuck down. Anyway, this is like the only astrology not real. But being a Scorpio is its own experience. That's a separate thing from astrology. Also, just I believe one day I said I don't believe in astrology, but having the scorpion is the best one, and someone said that's a very Scorpio thing to say, and I was like, shut the fuck up. The scorpion is the best one. I ripped to the fish people, honestly. That sucks. You're a fish. I don't mean to offend you, any listeners who are Pisces, but come on, you gotta admit it's a little rubbish.
Libra gang.
Which one's Libra?
The scales.
Oh, okay, that's I guess that's cool. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know what the fuck Libras are all about. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know shit about
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just
Someone
mean.
send me an email prescribing my personality. If you know, if you're a real one about astrology, send me a write up. I'll read it.
Yeah. All right. Well, now that we're talking about astrology, we are officially done.
Yes.
The episode is over. Goodbye, everybody. Next week we will be covering episodes 19, 20, and 21.
Yes.
God, we're getting through it.
We are not at the halfway point, but it's in sight.
It's in sight. Ultraseven, pretty good show so far. Looking forward to more of it. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
One, two, three, four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Attack the pony side fighter. 7. Ultra 7. One, two, three, four, 1, 2, 3, let's go. 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Strike the ice like a hero. 7. Ultra